Hi everyone, I was about to go for a walk and then I thought it's Saturday. I did not upload a video on Wednesday, so I might as well film something that captures what is going on in my head. And so this is not going to be a very structured video, but just a combination of the few thoughts that have been crossing my mind over the past couple of weeks. So for context, I was supposed to work on a project and I decided to walk away from it because I did not like the setting of it. And that was one of the boldest things I've done. Instead, I asked to be on another project, which is very, very difficult, very complex, but at least I'm happy with that. Although it is very difficult, it's going to be a lot of work. It's fine. But while being busy, I also tried to have a sense of balance, to work on myself, really do my usual introspection. And one of the things I did recently was listen to an audiobook called The Clutter Bug. It's a very, very short audiobook. I think it was an hour or an hour and a half. Not very complicated, so as in quite accessible in terms of content. So it's not like an academia type of content. It's written by a blogger who used to organize stuff. Now, I decided to listen to it because I needed something that wasn't as intellectually heavy. I needed something that was an easy listen because I was like I said, my mental energy was consumed by my project. It ended up being more useful than I anticipated for one very basic thing. So she was describing her experience with all kinds of clients that she had where she was organizing her stuff, their stuff. And then she explained that there was a sort of matrix, so a 2x2, where you have people who are either like visual abundance or visual simplicity. That's one axis, the visual. And then when it comes to their organizational system, it's either organizational simplicity or something more elaborate. She has a test that you can take online, very easy, one of those very basic quizzes. But as simple as this was, it was an interesting thing to just focus on, because I realized then that I am the way my brain likes things to be organized is visual abundance, but organizational simplicity. So if you were to look at the archetypes, I would be what she would consider a butterfly. That is the extent of what I got from the book, because as I said, very easy read, etc. But that was something that, as basic as it is, was a good seed for me to actually take, digest, and actually do something deeper with it. So I, being the overthinker that I'm always, I started thinking, when it comes to my place, when it comes to the areas of my house, I'm going to show you now how everything looks on a Saturday noon. So hopefully there is nothing, it's fine. It's just you guys, you're used to me. So this is my living room. My living room is actually very good looking, right? I do have a stack of magazines here. I have these kind of things. I have a little card from Tiffany because I'm looking at buying some diamond studs for my birthday. This is my work area. Not very messy, but I do have a few things that don't belong here because I didn't do my nails. This area the back of it is quite nice, but then you have a few things that are floating because they don't have somewhere to be. This is where I had a very late breakfast, and when it comes to my kitchen, it's not horrible, but you do have the occasional things that are floating. You can see I have some bananas that I never ate, and for some reason I always keep getting bananas in my veggie box, so that's something to address. And looking at my fridge, you can see that I have a lot of things, relatively full. There you go. Similarly, like avocados from all the time, etc., etc. Then when we see my bathroom, this is relatively okay. This is relatively okay, except for the little plastics. I have a ton of things on this, all kind of crazy hair stuff. And then my favorite place is this thing, right? I will show you my bedroom and then we'll start discussing. Let's go to my bedroom. And this is my bedroom. Look. Now that we've seen all of that, I've started thinking, why is it that my living room 99% of the time looks great, whereas my room, which I really like, always looks messy? And when I think about it, if you were to look inside my closet, inside my closet is very organized. It looks so nice, like a store. But the things that I have outside, like my shirts over here, in this little rail, they're still very, they're not ironed, they just sat there. And then the things on my bed are typically laundry items. Similarly, my makeup collection is beautifully organized, but the thing that you always find is actually my everyday makeup. So when I started thinking about that, I can definitely see the whole visual part, which is if I don't see my things, I would probably not use them. So there is a reason why I like to rotate this. There is a reason why I want to have a monthly makeup capsule, because the thing is, if I don't see my makeup items, I will not use them. If I don't rotate which perfume I'm using, which by the way, I did not apply perfume this morning, and this is very uplifting. If I don't do that, then I have a sort of a hidden fear that I will not use my things, that I will forget about them, which to be honest actually happens. So what I've been doing over the past couple of weeks was thinking about all my organization system. I find that having things in corners, like little dedicated baskets, is actually quite useful. And that's something that I had already started doing a couple of months ago. Remember when I bought a few baskets for my kitchen, etc. But it got me thinking that the reason why my favorite spot in the whole house, which I repeat in almost every video, is actually my medicine cabinet, or it's effectively my beauty cabinet, because I obviously don't keep any medicine in my bathroom. The reason why I love that so much is just because everything is in plain view. I can see all the products that I have, and it's very simple. Like, I don't have a complicated system. I do have a few pots where I can put small things together, but that is the epitome of what I have. I love having my most loved, best used shirts out there, because when I see them, I use them. The only reason I'm not using them is because I didn't iron them. So then I started thinking, what this means is that I should not worry too much about having a perfect way to organize my things and hiding things. It's fine to have everything on display, because that's how I use my things and make the most out of them. But I just need to make sure that I have enough baskets and containers and dedicated areas to catch all of this stuff. So I think we are getting there. Like, for example, for my beauty products and makeup, I am getting to the point where, because I'm using things up and I'm buying less than what I'm using up, we're getting to a stage where things make more sense. So for instance, I used to have dozens and dozens of eye pencils, these are now all the eye pencils that I have left, and that's because I do manage to finish a few things, right? Similarly, I used to have lots of foundations and all these kind of things. I no longer have that much, which is completely fine and perfect. I feel that I am using up my makeup a lot more. I think that when I finish this perfume in a couple of months, I will start another perfume and another perfume, and there will be a point where I maybe end up having only 4 or 5 perfumes left. But that would actually just make everything look even better, because I no longer have to have 2 rows of things, etc. So that was about the organization, and it kind of helped me also, because I was starting that new project. It helped me also understand and describe how I like things to be done at work. So it was a quite interesting parallel, because as I was talking to my team about my working style, I did explain that I really like to see the work, have like a visual overview of the work, which is why I like everybody to put the content in one place, but I don't like the complexity of visual clutter. That's why I don't like to have lots of random slides that are there just as because it's an idea or because it's a placeholder. I don't like to have people throw in a lot of stickers and comments, etc. So I want to have the bird's eye view, which is the visual abundance, because that helps me go through everything. I don't want to see the unnecessary clutter because that distracts me. So that was a very interesting point to see the parallel from for my work. Now, I took that to the next level because I combine it now with two thoughts that I had. One thought was, as I was trying to go over my clothes, I decided I need to start wearing my clothes a bit more. Otherwise, why are they taking space in my closet? And then it hit me that I had an entire wardrobe of dresses and stuff that I did not wear for various reasons. So a lot of dresses that I have, I got them when I lived in Brussels. They're all very nice professional dresses, right? And blazers and all that. I realized that I did not wear them when I arrived to the UK because at the time when I left Brussels, I used to wear a lot of black. I used to wear lots of trousers. I had let's say a different style. When I arrived here, I started finding my own style. And while the dresses that I have and the outfits that I have, some of them I bought when I had just moved here, are independently good, I just don't feel like myself when I wear them. I also realized that I have blazers and all these kind of things that normally I would say, oh, I have to keep them in case I dress formally. And then I realized that whenever I had a very, very formal event, like with a client, for instance, I always wear one of my 2 dresses that I bought from the fold. I never reach out to the other ones. So even if it's something very formal, I know what I have the 2 dresses I would wear. And so I reached the conclusion of, why was I still holding on that? Because it is just a reminder of a past life. And I know that objectively, I could get one of those blazers and wear it with a pair of jeans and I would look great. But I don't have the reflex to do it. This is not the style I would naturally go to, which means that I would have to make a lot of extra effort to force myself to wear that. And so I decided to be ruthless with my wardrobe. So I'm actually going to go through my wardrobe and I'm going to remove all the items that I did not manage to wear more than 3 times over the past 3 years. And some of you who have been on this channel for a while, you remember that I went through a period of purging my wardrobe. But that, if you remember, that was actually when I went through a period where I gained a lot of weight because I was using a specific medication that made me completely bloated. So finding my new style was part of that, but then I realized that there are a lot of things that I kept because I was hoping maybe I would start wearing them because they're really good clothes. They were from decent mid brands like Hugo Boss, Theory, Unclean, etc. And so I just said, look, which is I usually am very straightforward with my advice because I always tell people, look, the money went out when you spent it. So holding on to this thing is useless. But for me, I wasn't holding on to these things just because they were expensive. I was holding on to them because I was thinking, this is a valid business attire. Why am I not wearing it? But I decided I'm going to just prepare a massive bag and I'm going to donate that. They are quality items. I'm pretty sure they will make a lot of people very, very happy about them. And I don't need to feel that guilt. And by the same token, I do feel that once I get rid of all the items that are amazing but for somebody else, I will have enough space for me to not feel like my wardrobe is stifled. Because I would say that as I look back at my wardrobe, I would say probably 50% of what's in that rod never gets worn. And even if I don't add more clothes from my storage, I just feel like just having the breathing space would be great. Now, so that was the second, let's say, line of thought. So the first line of thought was, oh, I have figured out how my brain thinks about processing things and organizing, which is visually abundant but a very simple organization system, right? Just baskets. I don't need a color-coded folder and stuff kind of thing. Everything just needs to have a spot, but that spot should not be granular, just a catch-all. Second thing is, if you take that to my wardrobe, to my items, to my room, the reason why my room is always messy is that the things I use the most are always meant to be on display. Which is why when I added hooks to the back of my door, I think a few months ago, that was one of the best things ever. Because otherwise, whatever coat I wear would always end up on the side of my bed. It wouldn't be in the kitchen, like in the kitchen chair. It wouldn't be in the entryway because unfortunately I don't have anything in my entryway, which might be a good idea. I might actually need to add something. It would always end on the corner of my bed. One day I managed to find hooks that were large enough for my door. Life changer. I have my 3 most worn jackets out there, and that in itself reduced half the bulk on my bed. I still have other things because like on my bed you always have whatever was in laundry. So it's usually the extra bedding because every time I take the whole bedding I wash it and it's here. I don't iron it, I don't do anything. So the next thing I would need to find is where do I place my spare bedding so that it's accessible for me to put it after, but it's not always because usually my bedding is either on my bed being used, on my bed just being washed, or in the laundry basket. These are the 3 states. I need a 4th state so that I will have the clean bedding, extra bedding on my bed. And so when I will remove a lot of these things, I think that I will feel much better because I think there was a psychological, really an emotional element to it. It wasn't about losing the clothes. It was about finally having closure on my Brussels chapter. When I was in Brussels, I needed to conform to so many things. I shouldn't have to conform to that. So the last reflection is about this dress. This is a beautiful silk gazar dress in a 1950s cut. Beautiful color because I have beautiful protruding collarbones. I used to hate them when I was younger because I used to feel very skinny and I was like, why do I have bones? Looking at how they look in such a dress, I don't know, your teenage brain can be quite messed up. But anyway, so very, very ladylike length. So this goes mid-calf. You pretty much feel like a European princess in this. I wouldn't say just normal princess, because Moroccan dresses are much, much, much better. There is no denying it, obviously. They're more regal. Like, if you see a proper Moroccan kaftan, that is a league of its own. So you cannot really compare to that. But in the arena or league of European dress, that's as amazing as it gets. Like, that's as refined as it gets. So we had a black tie dinner. So at my job, we were supposed to have a Christmas party. Obviously, because of the pandemic, the rules kept changing and they had to cancel and recancel and recancel. And then they were allowed to actually keep the venue that they had initially booked for Christmas. And so we only ended up having our Christmas dinner a couple days ago in March. So that's something. Now, the Christmas dinner has always been a black tie thing. But it kind of felt awkward. I mean, for most people, it's been forever since we had to wear black tie, etc., etc. And I remember for days I was just thinking, I'm going to just wear a normal dress that is relatively long. That shouldn't be a problem, because a lot of my dresses are relatively long, and that's one of the things that I have from the Brussels wardrobe. A lot of the dresses from the Brussels wardrobe are just a little bit too short for my liking now that I'm a more mature woman. Mature, I feel like sometimes people use these such words in a semi-veiled jibe at people. When I say mature, it's really meant to be a good thing, right? I'm grounded, confident, etc. So I noticed that since I moved to England, a lot of my dresses have longer hems, and I just love them so much more. I just like them. I have my little fluttery dresses from Cézanne, the summery dresses, but I like my longer dresses. So anyway, I said I have a few. Well, not a few, too. I mean, I'm the kind not to want to have 17 options, because I just feel like my brain is not. I can do better things with my brain than actually think about the options of what to wear. But then I said, I'm gonna try that, and I knew it wouldn't be black tie because these are normal dresses. And then I asked my sister and I said, look, I have this. Should I actually bother and go to my storage to get my beautiful, proper black tie dress? She said, you know what? You don't ever go out. You don't do anything. This is an event where you will wear black tie, or at least the men will wear black tie. Usually for women, it's usually filled with faux pas, which is why I knew I would get away with a normal dress, because I know that typically women don't get the black tie thing. This is again not meant to be insulting. It's more that when you have more choice, you have so much interpretation that actually you don't get it right. So black tie for men is effectively the tuxedo jacket, black bow tie, specific type of shirt, maybe cummerbund, but anyway, it's the same thing. They look like penguins, but with a tiny variation, like maybe suspenders or whatever. For women, black tie is effectively, normally you would have something that shows that has normally a ballet or a boat collar, so kind of like what I have. It would normally be a bit longer, but should not be floor length, because floor length is actually when you move into the white tie territory. Would normally be something that is a nighttime material. So ideally you will have these beautiful silks. Sometimes some people can get away with velvet, but usually if it's black tie during Christmas time, you don't do sequins, you don't do all that kind of stuff, because that's more cocktail attire, right? Shorter dresses with a lot of flash, that's cocktail. Black tie is really more demure, and obviously white tie is regal. That's why I say that the Moroccan dress is really white tie. That's presidential, regal. It's on my wish list. I need to get a couple proper Moroccan outfits That's something that's been on my wish list for ages. I tried to do it right before I moved to Brussels, but it unfortunately didn't work out. Like, I went to see the designer and she was a bit unresponsive. I'm not sure what she was going through, but then it fell through. So I might need to find another designer. But anyway, so he said that, and then I said, you know what, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna pull my dress and I'm gonna wear my dress. Then I thought, what shoes am I going to wear? And then I pulled sandals. The moment I pulled my sandals and I slipped my foot in, I felt pain. I still wore them. I did a few steps at home and I called my sister and I said, look, this dress is great. With the sandals, I look drop dead gorgeous. But I'm in pain and I'd like to wear flats. And with the flats, I'm just gorgeous, not drop dead gorgeous. What should I do? And then she said, you know what, just wear the flats. Even if it's black tie, you don't want to, at the end of the day, this is your one outing in ages. You want to enjoy it. And so that's what I did. And so I ended up wearing my church's flats. I might show you in a minute. And that got me thinking, you know what? I went from being in a lot of pain, because I don't know if I mentioned this, but one of the things we eventually found out from my 5 MRIs and all that stuff is that I do have arthritis in my knees. I did get injections for visco supplementation. It's not degenerating very, very quickly and it's not super bad. So with the injections, normally it should be fine. But you know, I do have quite a lot of things that came up through all the MRIs. I'm still doing physio. I have to do a lot of things. So I'm getting shockwave therapy. It's quite a lot. So it just, I think it was the right decision. I also borrowed a coat from my sister. It was a beautiful coat. And I wore nice pearls that I had. They are Baroque pearls. And I wore like my 2 rings that I almost always wear. And then I had this massive afro. You know, it was like I was wearing this regal thing, beautiful little coat, pearls, red lip, etc., and massive afro. It was. And then when I was at the party, I was sat next to with colleagues, etc. And I know that it's probably because you know, it was a bit of a laid back situation, but I know how there were quite a few discussions about who typically dresses well in the office, who's the best dressed in the office. And that was quite an eye-opener, because we realized that actually we didn't have people who dressed well in the office. And I wouldn't have cared, except that it just hit me that a couple of people were very comfortable to have that conversation, but it means that probably everybody else is thinking like that. And then I thought, you know what? I need to step my game up, because I had a period where I was the best dressed in Brussels, where I was the best dressed in London, and I still actually dress quite well, but I realized that a lot of the newcomers didn't have any examples to follow. And while it is comfortable for me to, like, I can, you know, get in and out of that very quickly, like when I have client meetings, etc., it's because I've done all of that. I realized that because I never set the example to people in the office, because I don't go enough to the office, etc., it could be that when we go to a client meeting that they wouldn't know how to dress. And I remember that there was something like that happened once in Brussels, where somebody showed up to the client with ripped jeans because he had no idea of knowing that it was inappropriate. When we just started doing the whole work from home thing, I always wore my shirts and everything. Perfect outfit. But the thing is that nobody sees the whole thing, which means that people don't have that guide. And this is important because we had lots of discussions over the past months about how people who started working in the past 2 years have missed on a lot of things and learning that is not in a playbook, that is not in an onboarding manual, but that you just learn by osmosis. And I think one of those things that you don't really codify is just effectively the sartorial choices. And that can be actually something that I could touch on for my career video series. But that's something that really hit me. And so, just to not make this video over 40 minutes long, that's why I decided that I'm going to start going to the office a bit more and try to coach a lot of people, because while it was a bit comfortable for me to just work from home and not have to commute and all of that stuff, I just feel that my role as part of the leadership team is not just to deliver good work, is to continue that whole training for a lot of people around. Like, how do you have a conversation at lunch that is not about what project you're on and how you did the model for this and what did the client say? Because I made that remark to a few people quite a few times, and I said, can you talk about anything else if it's not your school or the current work? And I realized that actually they can't. And so I would never be comfortable taking them to a client dinner. And so that's when I realized that actually it's because, I'm not saying I would definitely not blame like the more senior people, but I would just say that it's something that I decided is part of my duty. We have a duty of care. And I feel that we focused so much on delivering the content because we were in crisis mode that we forgot the part that is about uplifting people. And so that will also tie in with like what I'm doing here, because I have a signature style and I like my signature style. I'm going to go and continue doing it. I did have a moment of insecurity because of all my biomechanical issues, and then I reached the conclusion that I am happy, I am fine with not wearing heels. I think I set a good example by showing up without wearing heels, because the next day so many people said they had so many blisters, and I thought it's a good thing to show that you can look amazing without torturing your body, and that there are different interpretations of how you translate elegance into an outfit. And so that's going to be like my mission. And so the outcome is that I am getting rid of that one pair of sandals which I probably only wore once, and actually they're meant to be super comfortable. They are for very sensitive feet, but apparently my feet are even more sensitive than the sensitive shoes feet. So I'm going to package them in a nice box, and I will donate them like with all the other things. So I'm going to like really properly steam all my clothes, etc. I might take a few to dry cleaning, and then I will give them to the donation place. And I think it's a good energy clearing, because I no longer have the Brussels trauma behind me. I no longer have that social expectation for me to wear heels. And actually my new style will be, how do you wear the most stylish flats? I think my foot is starting to heal, but it's still quite painful at times, especially now that I have started doing the active physio. It's no longer mobilization. Now I have really to kind of work out in my physio session. So it's like 30 minutes of me doing stuff. But yeah, we're getting there. So this is my rambly video. I will quickly show you my closet. Ooh. So this is my closet. I really like it. But I would say that there is an entire section here and some dresses there that I don't wear. And so I will need to get all of these properly packaged. You can see, for example, the example of visual abundance and simplicity. So visually abundant is I can see everything I have. Simplicity is I'm not trying to color code anything. Wherever a sweater fits, I will slot it, and that's effectively it. I will probably also go over my sweaters at some point to see if there are ones that I always avoid wearing. But usually I'm very good at choosing my sweaters. And now down here, I don't really have that many shoes, but these are the sandals that I'm going to donate. You see, they're very new. They still have a little sticker on them. They didn't even touch the floor, so like very intact. They are from a brand called Kala Shoes, which is meant to be very comfortable. It has a lot of padding and is meant to help feet that are problematic, have bunions, whatever. So they're meant to be very, very comfortable. These are the shoes that I ended up wearing. Actually, they were just these very simple loafers from churches that I've had. And yeah, they were comfy. So yeah, that means my little shoe collection is even smaller, but who cares? I have to wait for my feet to heal before I buy more shoes, but it's very, very slow process. Now I'm going to take my little dress from Susanna to my storage, and then I'm going to start preparing the big donation bags. I will see what needs to be cleaned, etc., etc. And then over this weekend, I will weekend and next week I will actually do the clearing, and hopefully in my next video I might do a bit of a tour to show you whether my room managed to start becoming tidier or not, because right now I think that it's a bit messy. But yeah, very, 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 very long video, I know. But I thought not to leave you without a video this Saturday because, I know you guys are a very faithful audience, so you deserve that. So let me get this dress to my storage and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!